Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to have a discussion of the important characters of the famous play Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. So let's have a discussion of the important characters of Pygmalion. And to begin with, we are going to analyze the character of Eliza Doolittle, who is also called as Liza. So at the beginning of the story, Eliza is described as a poorly educated, insignificant woman who transforms slowly into an authentic lady. Eliza's negligence at the beginning not only creates the dramatic effect of transformation, but also demonstrates that the heroine belongs to the lower status and class. Also, one may also find that Eliza is a compassionate person who is not able to defend herself. In some ways, Eliza's oversensitivity may be described as the outcome of her insecurity. However, the woman is far away from being a romantic figure and she's quite an introverted person. Professor Higgins is one who influences the heroine's character. Heroines here refers to Pygmalion. Heroines here refers to Eliza here. In fact, he transforms a poorly educated girl into an intelligent woman. However, it's not poorly his achievement. For sure, without Eliza's self discipline and commitment to learning, she could not become a lady she was at the end. Hence, from some perspective, Eliza was her own creator. Eventually, at the end of the play, Eliza gains a lot of confidence and is not afraid to argue her point, defending her own rights. So, one such great example we can mention, which demonstrates Eliza's achieved self confidence, is the moment when she confronts Higgins on the matter of his insensitivity, mentioning that she's not dirt under his feet. The radical changes can be noticed not only in Eliza's speech, but also in her appearance and position in society. The only one thing that stays, that remains unchangeable in Eliza's that is called Eliza's great honesty, which does not change. However, it's actually complicated for Eliza to become a lady as she is merely forced to sacrifice her personality and feelings. Lastly, even though by the merit of her accomplishments, the girl gains a lot of self confidence, she's still not a completely independent woman as she relies on the reassurance of Higgins and Pickering. So, this is the brief character sketch of Eliza Doolittle. Now, let's have a discussion about Professor Henry Higgins, the phonetician, the English trainer. Professor Higgins, a protagonist of the story, is described by Bernard Shaw as a very ignorant and rude man. He has no awareness of the norms of behavior in single situations. Regardless of Higgins' educational background, he has poor manners that decrease his position in society. As far as Higgins' academic knowledge is concerned, he's a great linguist and studies phonetics and the peculiarities of the dialect as well as the ways different people speak. Besides, it is Professor Higgins who has created the universal alphabet. The best example of Professor's intolerant behavior is his attitude to Eliza and Mrs. Pierce. For instance, he never respects Eliza no matter who is around. The professor merely diminishes Eliza's worth. However, such behavior totally contradicts with Higgins' philosophy. In fact, the hero is assured that the most significant thing is to treat everyone equally only in a given situation, which he thinks. Nevertheless, on many occasions, Professor Higgins demonstrates good manners and does not treat everyone equally all of the time. Probably the fact that may explain such behavior is Higgins' concentration and engagement in the study of language. Higgins is so concentrated on his researches that he merely ignores the needs and the interests of the other individuals. He's very cynical person upon how he views the world and people around him. Hence, it becomes understandable why Henry Higgins is one of the most complex characters in the story. Generally, regardless of his poor manners, Professor Higgins has a good heart and is totally harmless. This is the main reason why society has not turned against him. So that's about Professor Higgins, Professor Henry Higgins, the phonetician who trains Eliza Doolittle. Now let's talk about Colonel Pickering. Colonel Pickering is a gentleman and well educated academic who studies the peculiarities of Indian dialects and other language notions. As the readers may see, the man shares common interest with Higgins, who is also interested in the studies of languages, even though Pickering is not so devoted to the field. However, his researches in language are not only one achievement of the hero, but he's also the author of spoken Sanskrit. Later in the story, it becomes clear that evident that it is Pickering who gives Higgins the idea for the venture with Eliza. It's only he who persuades Higgins to train Eliza, and he bets that he's going to pay for all the expenditures. However, contrary to the Professor Higgins, Pickering treats Eliza very much kindly, does not ignore her inner feelings and concerns. He respects her as a human being. Consequently, his attitude to the girl only encourages her to change and to work on herself. Eventually, Pickering feels guilty and apologizes to Eliza for treating her like the subject of a venture. This fact proves that he is not as selfish as Higgins and he has a courteous nature. He even calls Eliza as Miss Doolittle, which demonstrating her social status and material conditions should never prevent the girl from respecting herself. All in all, Pickering is a positive hero, an authentic gentleman with excellent manners. So, throughout the story, throughout the play, he considers the feelings of the other individuals. The fact that he treats Eliza, the fact that he treats Eliza with respect, eventually, the fact that he treats Eliza with respect eventually makes the girl respect and love herself. That's about Colonel Pickering. Now, let's talk about the another character, Alfred Doolittle. Who is Alfred Doolittle? Eliza's father, Alfred Doolittle, is a man who belongs to a working class, and the name of the hero, Doolittle, is a very stylistic device that the author uses to render the stereotypes about working class. However, Doolittle's actions and the words transform one's perception of his position in society. He has a different attitude to marriage and sex. Talking about his relationship with Eliza, the girl does not trust his father. The girl does not trust her father. When Doolittle arrives to find Eliza, Higgins characterizes his accent of Welsh origins, which usually is a typical for dishonest people. Besides, Higgins is only one person able to see right through Doolittle's intentions. In fact, the Doolittle only desires to make a profit from Eliza's possible new connections with Higgins. However, he's unsuccessful with his plans because Higgins knows from the very beginning that Alfred came for nothing else but for money. Also, it's necessary to mention that Doolittle is a person who makes fun of those individuals who believe being in upper class is much better. He has no doubts that such material things as wealth and class cannot secure that a person has a really good life. Hence, the man prefers the lower class of society basically because of its free way of living and its lack of morals. So now let's talk about Mrs. Higgins. Let's talk about Mrs. Higgins, mother of Henry Higgins. Mrs. Higgins, mother of Henry Higgins, is an intelligent and independent woman With a high position in society, she hosts the Ainsford Hills at her rich home. Even though the woman is truly upset with Eliza's presence, she's always kind to her. She merely knows what it means to be a woman in London of those times. She's afraid of the future that waits for Eliza. Even more, she does her best to explain to the son that Eliza is not an object or his possession and that he must treat her equally to others. Taking into account her feelings, the mother also truly loves her son, although she is truly upset with with his manners, language, and behavior. From some points of view, Mrs. Higgins is a traditional mother figure who cares the most about his son. She tries throughout the story to warn the son of the consequences of his actions. One more fact that proves that Mrs. Higgins is truly a kind and sympathetic person is that Eliza listens to her when she wants good advice from an old lady. She feels that the lady is sincere with a desire to help and find the support talking with her about the problems. Now, let's talk about the another character, Freddy Ansford Hill or Mr. Freddy. Freddy is Clara's mother. Freddy is Clara's brother who almost immediately falls in love with a young girl, Eliza. He has a truly romantic nature and even writes love letters to her to express his feelings. Probably some events from the play also demonstrate that Eliza also wants to marry Freddy. However, it's also possible that for the girl, Freddy is nothing else but a perfect opportunity to escape from the control of Higgins. Freddy actually has qualities that make him a good match for Eliza. In fact, because of own feelings, Freddy can give Eliza the love she truly needs. He sincerely loves Eliza's personality and character. He visits her persistently and uses every occasion to see her once more. However, later it becomes evident that he is not able to care for Eliza in a proper way. Freddy is a rich and spoiled way. Freddy is a rich and spoiled boy who has never worked and always takes care only of himself. Hence, Freddy cannot offer Eliza the future she really needs. As far as Freddy's role in the play is concerned, he's usually only in the background of the main events. He never plays any significant role in the development of the narrative of the play. So, friends, this is how I have tried to bring out a glance of most of the important characters of the famous play Pygmalion. I could not say about much about Mrs. Pierce, who does not play much role in the play Pygmalion. So please do subscribe the channel. Thank you so much for watching my videos and wish you very good luck for the examination.